This is Watcher Style. Today's review, I'm going to be comparing the Richard Mille RM1101 versus the RM1103. So for a while now, I've been wanting to compare both the RM1101 and the RM1103. Now, you know, in 2016, they remade the RM11 with the 03 version. It has a fatter case, you know, with a little bit more detail on the crown and the dial. But I kind of wanted to have them side by side so we can go over some comparisons and see closely what are the differences. So first thing I want to do is I want to give a special thanks to my friend Machine that actually let me borrow this watch right here. And it's actually the first one I've seen of this model. This is not just a regular rose gold RM1103. This is the full rose gold version with all the bells and whistles. Pretty much, if this were basketball players, I would say this would be Kobe Bryant and this is LeBron. So right off the bat, when you see the watches, what I kind of feel initially is that the 1103 is a lot bigger. I don't know why. It's like visually it did an optical illusion where the 03 just looks a lot bigger. But actually, when you put them side by side, they're actually the same thickness, believe it or not. However, the 03 might look a little bit wider because of the bumps around the case that they did now. Very similar to the Nadal, but you know, those things kind of play and make it look like a bigger watch. One thing that's definitely changed between these two watches is gonna be the crown. The crown looks completely different. They made it a lot longer and a little bit more robust. And that's something I mentioned in my last video on the 03, is that I felt like the crown of the 01 could have used a little bit more work. Don't get me wrong, guys, I love the RM1101. I mean, it's a classic. You can't go wrong with this. This is the flagship from the brand. So how do you make a perfect watch even better? I mean, I guess you gotta exaggerate things a little bit. The buttons for the chrono are still the same. Has the same purpose and look on the dial, except now it's got a little bit more things on the dial to give it more depth. When you compare them side by side, you know, the original version just looked like a lot more see-through and deeper, whereas this one has that new base plate, which is satin polished and titanium. Makes it look a little bit higher, but for some strange reason, it still gives it a bit more depth. There's a lot more writing and colors and graphics going on the dial, which at first I didn't like. But when I got used to it a little bit more and more, I kind of like it better. I guess it's one of those things where when you have something that you like so much, that's the original version, that you don't think it could be made any better, it takes a little while for the new version to kind of grow on you. A couple other things that I noticed is that they made actually this time the hands on the dial in gold. That's a nice touch. Also, around the date window, it looks more like it has like a little bezel frame with some screws. That makes it look also a whole lot more interesting. Funny enough, with these two watches that I have here, the RM1101 actually has the new style rubber strap, which is supposed to come on this model. That's pretty funny actually, because this one is the one that came with the RM1101. The new strap does change the watch and it does make it a whole lot different. So that's another thing that for me, I love the Richard Mille strap. So how do you make it better? I guess you got to change the pattern a little bit. So that's something that kind of changed it up and made it nice for me, in my opinion. Another thing that I noticed is the finish of the watch. The base plate still has the same traditional satin. The only difference is that now it kind of has a bit more of an AP polish, because the top part is satin and the sides, and just the edge is polished. Whereas opposed to the previous version had it satin on top with high polished on the sides. Kind of gives a little bit of a touch, you know. I like overall the new case. When I first saw it, I wasn't 100% about it until you see one in your hands. This particular one with the all gold sides, I mean, it's kind of game over. This one right here is by far the heaviest RM11 in the game. You've heard me say heavy hitter before. This is literally a heavy hitter. It weighs a ton compared to this RM1101. Granted, it's got titanium sides and hardware, but overall, there's big differences, big differences I want to tell you. Right off the bat, the way it looks. Look, at the end of the day, I think they're both some hard-ass watches. I, for one, love the traditional look of the RM1101, and I wouldn't mind actually having both, okay? I don't want to say that this is the old version. I hate for somebody to say, oh, but you have the old version, because that's not true. This is a badass watch and they're hard to get. This is just a new and improved model. It's almost like when they come out with the new iPhone and then they do the S. This would be the S version. So what's the conclusion? You know, the RM1101 versus the 03. I mean, I guess technically in a status level, the 03 wins because it's the newest one and blah, blah, blah. And you know how all that goes, okay? However, as far as the watch game goes, you're winning with either one and you're bullying with either one. So you can't go wrong. I guess it all goes down to personal preference. So feel free to comment how you feel about the RM1103. And if you like this video, please like and share. Also, subscribe to our channel. My name is Eric. Watch your style.